Scene script. Have you ever wondered what happens when we eat food? It's a question we seldom ponder, but the journey of food through our body is a fascinating and intricate process. Picture this. You bite into your favorite meal. That first crunch, the explosion of flavors, it's more than just a gastronomic delight. It's the first step in an epic journey. As you chew, your teeth break the food into smaller pieces. Simultaneously, the saliva in your mouth starts its job. It doesn't just make the food easier to swallow. It contains enzymes that begin the process of breaking down food into nutrients our bodies can use. And let's not forget about the tongue. It's not just there for tasting. It helps in moving the food around while you chew, and then propels it towards the back of the throat. Next, we'll explore what happens when the food takes the plunge down the esophagus. So we've chewed our food, but what happens next? Where does it go? Well, let's venture down the esophagus, shall we? This muscular tube, about 10 inches long, serves as a vital pathway, shuttling our chewed food from the back of the throat down into the stomach. But how? The esophagus doesn't just rely on gravity, no, it's much cleverer than that. It employs a process called peristalsis. Imagine a wave pushing the food along. This is peristalsis in action. These rhythmic wave-like contractions of the muscle layer in the esophagus wall ensure that whether you're standing, sitting, or even hanging upside down, your food will reach its destination. It's quite the journey, isn't it? And it's all happening right now, inside you, as you're watching this. Fascinating, isn't it? Our food has now reached the stomach, where things start to get really interesting. Our food has now landed in the stomach, but what does the stomach do with it? Well, it's rather fascinating. The stomach acts like a mixer, mashing your food into a pulp. This is where gastric acid and enzymes come into play. The stomach releases them to further break down the food. Gastric acid, also known as stomach acid, is composed of hydrochloric acid, potassium chloride, and sodium chloride. This strong acid helps dissolve food particles and kill harmful bacteria. Enzymes, on the other hand, are proteins that speed up chemical reactions. The stomach's main enzyme, pepsin, specifically targets proteins in food, breaking them down into smaller, absorbable pieces. Throughout this process, the food transforms into a substance called chyme. Chyme is a semi-fluid mass of partly digested food that's easier for the body to handle. Once the stomach has done its job, the food, now a thick liquid, moves on to the small intestine. So, stay tuned to find out what happens next on this incredible journey. The small intestine is where the real magic happens, but what exactly goes on in there? You might be surprised to know that it's a bustling hub of activity, a veritable nutrient highway, if you will. Our small intestine is the primary site for nutrient absorption. It's here that all the hard work of breaking down our food pays off. Imagine it as a bustling marketplace where nutrients are the prized goods. Proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, and minerals, all broken down into their simplest forms, find their way into our bloodstream, ready to fuel our bodies. But how is the small intestine so efficient at this process? The secret lies in its unique structure. Picture millions of tiny finger-like projections lining the walls of the small intestine. These are called villi and microvilli. They're not just there for decoration, they dramatically increase the surface area of the small intestine, making it about the size of a tennis court. This expanded surface area allows for maximum nutrient absorption. Think of villi and microvilli as eager shoppers in our marketplace, ready to snap up all the valuable nutrients passing by. The more shoppers, the more nutrients are absorbed. It's a clever design by nature, ensuring we get the most out of our meals. Now, let's not forget the vital supporting actors in this process, the pancreas and the liver. The pancreas provides digestive enzymes that break down nutrients further, making them easier to absorb. On the other hand, the liver produces bile, which helps in the absorption of fats. These two organs work in harmony with the small intestine, ensuring a smooth and efficient nutrient absorption process. So the small intestine, with its villi and microvilli, and the support of the pancreas and liver, is the star of the absorption show. It's here that our food truly becomes part of us, fueling our bodies and nourishing our cells. After the small intestine has absorbed all the nutrients it can, the remaining waste moves on to the large intestine. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's appreciate the complex and fascinating work our small intestine does every time we eat. So, we've absorbed our nutrients, but what happens to the waste that's left over? Well, this is where the large intestine comes into play. As the last station in our digestive tract, the large intestine has the crucial role of absorbing water and electrolytes, such as sodium and potassium, from the remaining indigestible food matter. The large intestine is essentially a recycling center, reabsorbing vital substances back into the body before the waste is expelled. This process helps maintain the body's fluid balance and ensures that essential minerals aren't lost. But the journey doesn't stop there. The rectum and anus play the final act in this grand performance. The rectum stores the leftover waste, now formed into solid feces, until it's ready to be expelled through the anus, and thus, the body rids itself of waste, marking the end of the food's journey. And there you have it, the fascinating journey of food through your body. But how does this all tie in with energy creation? Well, let's dive in. The nutrients we've been talking about, especially glucose, are transported to each cell in our bodies. This is where the magic unfolds. Inside the cell, glucose begins its transformation in a process called cellular respiration. First, glucose enters the cell and is broken down during a phase called glycolysis. This process happens in the cell's cytoplasm and results in 2 molecules of pyruvate. Now, these pyruvate molecules enter the mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell, where they undergo the Krebs cycle. This cycle releases energy stored in the glucose molecules, and that energy is used to form a molecule called adenosine triphosphate, or ATP. ATP is like a rechargeable battery, providing power for the cell's activities. It's this ATP that gives us the energy to live, move, think, and even dream. So the next time you enjoy a meal, remember the incredible journey that food takes in your body to keep you energized and healthy. This has been Science and Technology. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more interesting scientific content. Thanks for watching.